Hello. Hello, if this is working and anyone can see me or hear me, let's have a look. Let's have a look-see. Ah, yes. If you can see me, please confirm in the chat. That would be lovely. As we get ready for a monumental game of football between England and who the hell are we playing today? Oh, yeah, Albania. Daniel can see me. Slightly spooky introduction. Either the YouTube is working or Daniel's there outside the window with Mark. So a bit of a scream introduction there. Lineup, so in case you haven't seen, it's Jordan Pickford in goal. Kyle Walker, of all people, right back. I think we all thought and borderline hoped his England career was done. He was very good, but he's a bit old now. Esri Conson, Dan Burn, centre backs. The horrible Arsenal's terrible cheating, red card prone Mars Lewis Skelly left back. Declan Rice and Curtis Jones in midfield. Phil Foden's on the right. Jude Bellingham's attacking central midfield. Marcus Rashford, for God knows what reason, is left wing again. After he just, ran a bit for Villa. And I think he had a goal involvement. So that was good. And aging, creaking Harry Kane up front, which is a bit disappointing as well. Obviously, I did want to see Bowen, as Crow says. It would have been nice. I mean, I think he should get on the pitch. One would hope. Obviously, the subs is just the whole rest of the squad. So attacking wise, yeah, I guess there's Solanke, Anthony Gordon. Eze is there for some reason, and then otherwise you have horrible Chelsea's terrible cheating Levi Colwill, equally kind of cheating and aggressive. Reece James, I think probably has made a career of being called Reece. If he was called Tim James, I'm not sure he'd get game time. And then obviously Tino Livramento, who kind of has an excuse to have a fancy name. And obviously Jordan Henderson. Why is Jordan Henderson recalled? What good will he do on the football pitch? Very helpful. It is just like tonight. If you were hoping to see Gio or Gonzo or even Norfeed, then I have to just sorely disappoint you. It's only me for the duration of this friendly. It's not friendly, but come on, we've got to be hoping for a big victory here. I don't mind telling you that I do have some minuscule bets on high scoring results. I don't encourage you to do the same. This is not gambling or financial advice whatsoever. But once you get to 5-0, 5-1, the odds are reasonably attractive. I think it was like 25 to 1 or something. I mean, let's read them out because we've got absolutely fuck all else to do for the next 10 minutes. So if I fire up Paddy Power, we'll get there eventually. If we look at the odds, purely for education's sake, you understand. They did have Paddy Power had a couple of power prices, but they weren't tempting. They had one which is England to score 3+ goals, England to get 6+ corners, and Albania 3+ cards, 6 to 1. So the 3 goals you'd hope a new manager, our allegedly world-class, some of them allegedly generationally good players, Phil Foden, he's not that good. He's pretty good, but he's not that good. We'll get 3+ goals, 6 corners, a bit unlikely, 3 cards. Not sure. Seems unlikely to me. Harry Kane scored 2 or more goals is 3 to 1. Ooh, that's tempting. Jude Bellingham to be shown a card is 8 to 1, which is tempting because he likes being shown a card. It's his kind of thing. Albania, obviously, yes, Trojan is helpfully, but who knows? I mean, is that the Albanian team, or has he just smashed his keyboard? Sorry if that sounds a bit Brexit here. Am I going to sing the national anthem? No. I just don't want to sing it. I can't really sing. I used to sing it. I mean, not just at home in the shower or just looking. Just every time I'd go out the house in the morning, I'd look in the mirror, look in eye to eye, and I'd shout it at the top of my voice. But then my wife left me. No, that's not true. At football games, I suppose I used to sing. I used to live overseas. So when it was tournaments, I used to really get into it because there were all these different expat communities, right? There were the French and the Germans and this kind of thing. German people are quite funny because individually they're very nice. You can always have a chat with them. They're always very polite and friendly. But obviously when they get into a group, history shows us what has happened when they kind of collaborate together toward a shared purpose. So when you're overseas and there's different expats in this country, you get really aggressive. It's not really, I'm not really an aggressive person, but in that context, I did. So that's an example where I would sing the anthem. I haven't been to many England games at all, only friendlies. I don't think I've ever been to an England competitive game. And that was when I was young. I wouldn't waste my time and money doing that now. When I was younger, I went to England friendlies and sang the anthem. But, long story short, at the end of this is, I don't really know if I could sing. I didn't care about the Queen. I didn't know this would go, regal, this conversation so quickly. So it's a good question. Just singing about the King. If he voluntarily kind of opted back into inheritance tax and was taxed 40% of the 15 billion pounds that he inherited, then maybe I'd respect him a bit. But yeah, that's just the royal family, isn't it? Hoarding wealth. Even if you want the royal family, fine, have the royal family. Why do they have to be so rich? Even if you want them to be rich, can they just have like 2 billion and just give the rest back? That would be my personal recommendation. That way you've got the royal family, you love them, and they're rich. You want them to be rich. If they've got to be super rich. That's just what you want. Then they can still have several billions. So I'm sorry about that. But I think it's so wrong. Lewis Kelly seems defensive liability. Not a nice person. He just doesn't really seem polite, which is important. Albanian players are hugging each other and doing the sports person handshake. That one, not the normal one. The sportsman. Sports people always do that, which makes me feel I never know what to do. I'm fine just with the standard, good old-fashioned 1980s handshake. But then men come up to you and they want to do this, and they want to like shoulder bang you, and I go along with it. But it's not me. If anyone in the chat, we have more than I expected because it's only an England game. If any of you how do you feel? Are you okay with the sports person's handshake, and do you bang shoulders with other men? Or not? Teddy says we are playing better than I expected. Game hasn't started yet, so not quite sure what that was about. Foden 4-43. That was a good stat. Yeah, Foden and Rashford plus Kyle Walker and Jordan Henderson on the bench is. Why would you do that? Really, against Albania. Albania is probably a very interesting country. I'm not really sure. Where is it near to? Let's have a look. It's one of those. It's bordered by Montenegro, Kosovo, North Macedonia, and Greece. I did not know that. It's on the coast as well. So, yeah, on Southeast Europe's Balkan Peninsula. Capital is Tirana. Didn't know that. Did not know that. Yeah, you've got to be cool to the shoulder bump. Like I say, I'll go along with it now. I'm old enough. I used to be a bit uncomfortable about it when I was young, so I didn't know what to do, and I felt a bit weird, but I'll just go along with it. I'm fine. But I won't initiate the shoulder bump. That's just... Anyway, they come out to the pitch. Albania players have Skiperi on the back of their jackets. Not sure what that means. Sponsor, maybe. So anyway, the odds, the tempting one. I mean, Harry Kane scored 2. I know he's very old and slow, which is why I genuinely hope England have found a replacement for him 2026. He just can't cut it physically. 3-1, 2 goals or more. So tempting, but he might not. Correct score. Yeah, once you get 4-0, I mean, it might be 1-1, it might be 2-1, it might be the most boring game we've ever seen, but 4-0 is 15-2, 4-1 is 14-1, and then when you get to 5-0, 13-1, 5-1, 25-1. So 5-1, 25-1, not bad. 6-0, 25-1. These odds have actually narrowed since I placed my minuscule bets on them. 6-1, 55-1. 7-0, 60-1. So I'm sure you've all watched more interesting YouTube than someone reading out odds. But again, if these players can't do it, then this is a good occasion for them to get 5+ goals, surely. When Pickford is picked, I tend to put the glass microwave plate on those 3 prongs. Normally takes 94 minutes. I'm not quite sure. I put the glass microwave plate on the... Do you mean you're just balancing glass? Isn't Broja Albanian? Might be. Might be. Anyway, they're singing. They're singing their songs. The Albanians. There's a lot of them in England. Seemingly, you won't be surprised to know, Potter out. Please respond if we want Potter out. That would be nonsense. He'll relegate us next season. No, that's impossible. We need to now form a petition. Interesting use of time. You've got to respect that. You've got to respect someone who has that much free time in their life, because they have manufactured their life so that they just have a free 15 minutes to set up an account and join here. I'm glad they're with us. They're singing now. They're singing about the king and his many billions. I just think if people could opt in, that would, like, in tax-wise, if you could opt into the royal family. If anyone's seen highlights of that new Netflix series, With Love, Meghan, that's priceless. That does give me a nice dopamine hit. I flick through TikTok, and once I see one, I watch the whole thing. And then I've watched it, and then more come up. Lots of people criticizing that Meghan for the various things that she did in that With Love, Meghan. I encourage you to watch people make fun of Meghan Markle, because it's fun. Back to TV adverts. For a while, thought a game of football was going to start, but now we're looking at every diverse TV advert full of mixed families, which is good. I like to see that. Any score predictions? Let's have your score predictions. We have nigh on 50-ish people here. Score predictions and first goal scorer, please. Score predictions, first goal scorer. If you've put any financial remuneration on this game, then also let me know what you've gone for. I'm actually treating myself to a hot-based beverage today. I found this in Marks & Spencer the other day. It's called Phase the Haze. It's by Magic Rock Brewing, and it really is quite fantastic. It does everything I'm hoping it to. 2 4-0s in a row. Kane and Bellingham. Ooh, will Kane get 2 though? If you think it's 4-0, Kane's got a good chance of getting 2, and that's 3-1 on Paddy Power. Jam tarts, pure 1980s snacking. What percentage of jam are they? I mean, who likes the jam ones past the age of 6? I'm very impressed. What else do you have? Jelly. So Chiffy's dinner, he has he has eggs and chips every day. Eggs, chips, and beans every day, and then jelly. And then if he's been good, his mum lets him have a whole pack of jam tarts, but he doesn't eat the apricot ones because he doesn't like them. He doesn't like the taste, and he spits it out. So anyway, they're standing around the semicircle. I mean, the semicircle, the center circle. I think someone might have died or something. I don't know. Minute silence or applause. There's 4. George someone, born 1936 to 2024. George Eastham. Who on earth is George Eastham? I'm an ex-footballer. So I had this theory, you'll be thrilled to know. I had this theory some time ago, and it's coming to fruition this year, that it used to be like, let's say our generation, at least, mine, born in the early 80s. So in the 90s, it would happen very rarely. And after the 90s, like 2000 and a bit, it would still be very, very rare about this, about players dying, or ex-players die, and you have a minute's silence and maybe an applause or something. And those that obviously then died, in the last 10 years, like this, like George Eastham was born in 1936. But in the future, because there were more and more footballers as time goes on, it's going to be every game. So every game, you're going to have to clap or stand for more than one perished ex-footballer, which is a bit odd if you think about it. Like every home West Ham game, and there's like 5 players that popped their clogs, that shifted their mortal coil. Game's kicked off, although you all know that because it's on ITV. If the commentator says anything incredibly annoying, let me know. Kevin talks about Gangs of London. I stopped that after the first series. I watched some of the second series. I didn't think it was very good. It got a bit cartoony and silly. Reacher, latest series, is not bad. Second series kind of lost it, but the third one has brought it back nicely. I eat whatever the servants serve up. I'm not fussy, just obscenely rich. So the servants just serve up a jam tart, my lord. Back on the royal family thing, because it's just England and Albania, and just the sheer money they have, which not all of it is taxpayer funded, but a minuscule amount. When the Queen died and then King Charles was doing his tour and the people were gathered, the masses, the plebeians, some people say plebeians, I say plebeians, the plebeians were gathered, and King Charles was going to shake hands, and then a cry rang out from the masses of 3 cheers for the new king, which I thought the person must be just living in Tudor times. What was that about? And then all the people there did a hip, hip hooray for this dude that will, on a daily basis looks at more money than they'll ever see in their whole life. I'm relying on good commentary. Oh, sorry. Well, England are passing it around. I'm not going to be home for an hour. What are you doing, other Nick? What are you doing in which YouTube is accessible for you, but watching ITVX is not? But, I mean, it's going to be England with possession, isn't it? And it is now. It's Curtis Jones and it's Declan Rice. Pace is not bad for England. Most England games are just terrible. Why would anyone go to Wembley and watch this? I presume it's in Wembley. I actually have no idea. I guess it's not that cold, but still. Yeah, back into defense. So, highly possession-based game. And, not really gung-ho. Just passing it round. Curtis Jones wants the ball whenever he can get it. And the Albanian players are not interested at all in closing down. And then Harry Kane came short. So it's going to be... It's going to be It's going to be a lot of that. Can't say it's verging on the edge of legality. How curious. What's verging on the edge of legality? You watching YouTube? The job itself? Or something else? 3 cheers for Carter, you sung the national anthem at the end of the day. We could do. For some reason, my son and I recently are doing, like, we do like a joke shake of the hands. We came up with this name of a butler. It's a long story. I can't really go into it, but we act like I'm the butler, and then he just sticks his hand at the bed and I shake it, and he says good night, and I say thank you, sire. That's the kind of nonsense we get up to. I don't really know what King John Sport of WEF. What's that? Should I look it up? Have I started something that I shouldn't have started here? World Economic Forum. I don't know where to go with that. Any thoughts on the royal family that anyone actually has watching? If you're pro or against, we're going to have to talk about something other than football. If you like to rant about the state of the world, bills going up, whether you're for or against Donald Trump, I don't mind talking about these things. 2-tier care. If you'd like to just vent, ball that goes into the box, but Bellingham kind of wasn't that interested to get it, and England are kind of attacking, but yeah, 4 minutes in now. 4 minutes in, not much happening. Anyone caught out by the Heathrow fires? Let me know. Anyone particularly hate any of the England footballers? Also let me know. Anyone has any belief in any of this West Ham stuff that we've been hearing about? The latest one, I think, was that there was the offer for Jonathan David, but that was one of these, can you believe it or not? As in dog with hat? No, I have no idea. What is that going on about? Oh, it's a meme coin. I thought I knew them all. Well, not all of them. I thought I knew lots of them. Obviously, Doge, Shiba Inu in millions. It's a Solana-based meme coin. Is dog with hat? Is that the edge of legality that you're talking about? Does anyone think the crypto is going to go back up, or is it going to plummet? Is Bitcoin going to go back to about 65,000 and then go up again? Nick Day by Day must be able to give us free, legally binding stock advice in the chat, which we can all invest our life savings into. Or not, don't do that. It's a bad idea. Well, England had kind of attacking with possession, but also are crap at the same time. Silvino is their head coach, in case you wondered. But yeah, I mean, this is England games, really. The West Ham situation is muddy. Most of the things indicate that Potter will be busy in the transfer window, and that, I mean, obviously every rumor that could ever possibly exist will come out between now and August, the whatever, when the next season starts. But if the one I would like to believe is that he's looking in the Championship for players, and that he's looking for youth, and that he's looking for pace, and that we're going to cut our losses, which are severe, with Fulkrug and some of the other players. So those are the ones that I would like to believe. The Angel Gomez one is very believable. I don't really think he'd come to us anyway if there's clubs like Barcelona sniffing around, as Albania have a slow throw in. I mean, this game is basically being played like a friendly at this point. And Thomas Tuchel he was rightly criticizing Southgate, but a bit surprised that he actually bothered to come out and say it. He was rightly criticizing Southgate by saying that England were too scared at the Euros, which we were. We were scared and boring. I mean, Nick Day is a gardener, so you want to remove with. Do you get involved with cryptos? Kind of funny way of saying it. No. I mean, I'm not against the stock market, but where crypto is now is too unreliable because allegedly some of the heavy investors put a lot of money on shorting it, which I don't know if it's true. This is not financial advice in any way whatsoever. So it's just with what's going to happen with Trump and the tariffs, I don't know. So if I was going to invest in anything, I would not put anything in crypto at this point in time. Yes, some people say, not me, just go on CNBC and do your own research. Some people say it will go up eventually or inevitably to this or that, whatever. The risk is enormous at this point in time. Aldi, yes, you're always in Naples. You always say that, in Napoli, having pizza and watching the beautiful ladies must be there. So you've been delayed. Some of these Albanian players were caught somewhere the other day, says MC Kelsey. Thomas appeared fresh and excited about being England manager. Yeah, he was just knocking Southgate about how terrible we were, effectively, which was all true. Which, as I have said before, which annoyed me in Southgate's press conference before maybe the semi or the quarters. And they were like, oh, what are you going to do? And he said, oh, well, I have to do this my way. Broke into song. But no, that's not how you manage a football club. Southgate came in Mr. Humble, down to earth, and that was absolutely fine. And then his ego slowly grew over time and tried to make decisions that he thought was best for his reasons rather than the football game, rather than picking the best players. He just went with, Foden, Bellingham together as we have now. England are in the box, but again, it's crap, and Albania managed to clear it. Crypto is the South Sea bubble of this century. Portfolio is 40% down. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is a bit different. Again, very careful with my words of saying it's not financial advice, but Bitcoin is slightly different in that there is a serious form of belief around it, and there's a serious form of systematic mining about it. But no. Currently, Alexander hopes. Are you English, Alexander 52, or do you just are you just mean? Which of those two is it? England are playing around the box now, so it's fine. It's like pretty zippy. We're trying to keep it in the final third, but with aged players like Kyle Walker and Harry Kane, and just massively overhyped over. Phil Foden's already good and he's still hyped. That's just what England do. Maybe other countries do that. Don't really know, don't really care. But Phil Foden is 8 to 8.5 out of 10 player. If he's playing against Burnley or someone, he's playing against Southampton or Leicester City, etc., he's a 9 out of 10 player. But in international games, he's very much proven himself to be a 6 out of 10 player at this level in his time for England. But, managers always believe this, and Thomas Tuchel seems to same old crap. Fair enough. Should low block be limited to a certain amount of players defending in the box? No, I see where you're coming from, but it would be too much. And the last thing that football needs is any rule changes. Ball goes through to Rashford, but he has to bring it back out wide. Bellingham's in the box with it. I'm probably about 20 seconds behind because I'm watching this on a tablet type device. But that attack went absolutely nowhere. Are you Gareth Southgate? Either in disguise or not. Ask Moyes. Two goals in Premier season. I think he had. Oh yeah, in the Premier League. I think Trudge said he has 4 in 43, so that must be in all competitions. Yeah, I always don't. I don't like England when it is at these games, and when you build up to the international competitions, I still kind of hate the other team's players that have cheated against West Ham during the season. But then when international tournaments all do kick off, I just absolutely transform. And then I'm suddenly just very, very aggressively into wanting us to win the tournament, which obviously hasn't happened, which is fine. There's also a trick. Excuse me. Talk about betting. There's a little trick you can do. This is not gambling or financial advice, so don't do it. But what some people do is before the tournament, if England have a decent, I suppose you could do this with West Ham. I don't really know if I'm letting the cat out of the bag on this one, but I'm not. So, okay, let's bring it to West Ham. So if you say West Ham start the season, for the FA Cup, we're usually about 25-1. That's just the way, it's where we sit. We're in that kind of 25-1 bracket for that. So if you put, let's say, £100 on that, and your winnings was £2,500, then in theory, you'd have up to £2,500 to bet on, like, spread out through the different rounds up to the final. And then even if West Ham got to the final, and then you also bet on that final against West Ham, which is obviously you're going to win money doing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, then you'd have 2,500 free, because if West Ham won, you get £2,500 back. So what I'm saying is you can make a lot of money betting on West Ham to lose. It's a fantastic pastime and will turn you a better profit than any cryptocurrency is likely to. As the game wise, as we get to 15 minutes, same thing. England pass it around, sometimes with pace, but never with quality. Sherlock Holmes nut. I think you'd make a good Professor Moriarty. Thanks. I probably acted better than that bloke did in the last one. I don't know what that actor's name is, but he was an abysmal Moriarty. He just thought being high-pitched and weird was the way forwards, but it very much was not. As again, England have it in defence. Well, I should have done this earlier, but I completely forgot because I was just waffling nonsense and no one reminded me. But match bingo, as you can see, in the top, whatever it is, hand corner, that would be the top right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see match bingo. So the reason why I'm waffling to a handful of people about an abysmal game of football, the royal families, crypto, and all sorts of things, is to just talk to you more about Match Bingo. And if you have not got the app, please get it, because I know a lot of you support Gio and Gonzo already, and your patrons and this kind of thing, but no sponsors, no Gio and Gonzo. So make sure at least download the app. The link is in the description below. And probably should have told you to buy cards before this game, but each card is £2. So there are many games available coming up. Let's have a look at what they've got on Match Bingo. Because again, no sponsors, no Gio and Gonzo. Harry Kane kind of wanted a penalty of sorts, but didn't even go down. So Match Bingo, it's £2 per card. Get Match Bingo and you see a screen. And at the bottom, there's a star. It says games. And there's all sorts. There's the WSL, UEFA Nations League, Championship, English FA Cup, and the World Cup qualifiers, which is now. And you'll see it's buy 4 cards, get 1 free. So if you spend £8, you get 5 cards. For example, on Monday, they've got, if I just get my phone to England, Latvia, current prize pot, £250, purchase cards, £2. £2 a card. When you get a card, as I have here, oops, this is what you see if I let the phone relax itself in the screen. So you see a row of things that are going to happen, and as you can see, 2 out of the 5 on the middle row have already happened, which is a throw-in and a shot or something. Oh, goal kick taken, it says. So if you get a row and you're the first one in the game, which means that if you want to maximize your chances of winning, you want to go on one of the least popular games. Don't go on like the Manchester Derby or something. Go on just a lower game or a championship game that less people are betting on, because the first one to get the rows wins. So that's Match Bingo. It might only cost you like £8 to get 5 cards on a game. And if a game's boring, you can sit there watching the various things happen. We can always watch replay of 66 World Cup. Yes, my father was at the 66 World Cup final on the halfway line. He was at our 64 and 65 games and then followed it up with 66. So what a time to be alive. That must have been in the 60s, but it's not like that anymore. And that's why he's always moaning about it. Goal pie. Oh, 1-0. Well, you're already ahead of me. You're doing my job for me, even though this is volunteering. So let's see what happened then. Bellingham, nice ball through. Terrible goalkeeping. Aggressive, cheating Arsenal player scores. And, I mean, he looks happy. That's good. I was a bit concerned he was going to do an arrogant celebration, but he looks genuinely pleased. So that's a relief for everyone. Yeah, in the end, goal on 19 minutes. It was quite simple. I mean, Bellingham did well. Yeah, he in one turn, the whole Albanian midfield wasn't interested in him, and then a very well weighted ball that you'd expect from a professional footballer, and then just terrible goalkeeping, just kind of half go out and open your legs, and it was a nutmeg. So I wouldn't have bet on Lewis Skelly as the first goal scorer, but that is the first goal on 19 minutes. Maybe they'll get to 5. Let's see. I watched Holland versus Argentina 1970, not live, presumably. Yeah, I mean, the last 20 minutes of those old games they were slow, to say the least. Everyone had given up by that point. But England have not had any corners yet, so I don't think they have. It's quite difficult to believe that they're going to go for 6+ corners. So I think not betting on that 3-1 in Paddy Power is probably a good idea. Albania passing it around a bit, but they look as though they've already given up. And then they just give the ball away. So we really need 3 goals this half for my incredible 5-0 or 5-1 bet to come up. 5-0, I bet on was 14-1. Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, we're going to win the next World Cup. I would still say, I mean, I know we're jokingly, but I would say Spain. I mean, I'm not going to be able to bet on it for over a year, but when I do, because it's usually like, at this point, it's like 5-1. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to bet on it now, the World Cup, because that would just be stupid. Because that would just be giving my money to Paddy Power more than I already do. Spain are 11-2. So the favourites for the 2026 is France, Brazil, Spain, all 11-2. So, you know, slightly better than 5-1. England 13-2. So you could put £200 on England if you had that kind of money. And then you'd have £1,300 that you know you're going to get back if they win. So you've got that to bet against them through the tournament. You see what I'm saying? So if you've saved it up and you think they're going to get the semi-final and you put £500 on England to the other team to get through, you can barely lose money, I think, in that situation. This is not gambling advice. Germany to win 9-1. I don't think Germany. I think Spain. I think they've got the players. Brazil don't. France back to being France again. Obviously, they had their high moment and now they're just French. England will just do England things. Phil Foden will be invisible, as he has been in this game against Albania for 22 minutes. And he's done absolutely nothing. Oh, Brazil. No, I don't think so. I mean, anyone that has Richarlison, or dare I say Paqueta, as their first pick. Paqueta was on the news again today. I didn't pay attention to it because I don't care until the verdict comes out. But Sky Sports were talking about it just again today to say probably that it had started, I guess. The 3 weeks they need when they've already made their minds up and they've already been looking at it for a year. But now they need another 3 weeks to talk about it again, presumably in fancy hotel rooms paid for by the FA with lovely lunches and dinners. They'll be too hungover for breakfast. But a lot of food will be consumed over the course of 3 weeks to decide that they still think that what they think now is true. And then there'll also be the appeal and all this kind of nonsense. But I mean, I don't really care. Like if Paqueta, if we can sell him, if we can just get rid, that would be the best thing personally. I still hold on for Kudus. I know a lot of people are bored with Kudus as well, and they think that's enough. Ship him out. But I think he has a lot more than Paqueta has to offer. Anyone disagree with any of that, or even agree with it about Kudus and Paqueta? Let me know. As England attack up the right wing, still pretty zippy around. I think the second goal is probably going to come in the same way, in that Albania are going to lose attention. Anyone got any nice snacks or beverages? Then do let me know. We've only had Chippy's jam tarts, which I don't really think I'm ever going to get over that. It's just going to come to me at random moments in my life from now on into the future that there was once a grown man eating strawberry jam tarts deliberately on purpose. As Albania kind of attack a bit, they got almost the final third, but then not. And England did lots of good hard work to get the ball back from Harry Kane, who's now holding on to possession for too long to make himself look good, still holding on to it, and eventually passes back to the player 5 yards behind him. It's quite funny. I'm fed up discussing Kudus. That's fair enough. Di Canio, Tevez or Pat, who would you bring on to win the game for West Ham? Always Di Canio. Fair question. My wife's cousin once had dinner with Tevez in China when he played for Shanghai Shenhua. Strange little West Ham link there. I also did have the offer to go and meet Anton Ferdinand in May, but I can't be bothered making the train ride, to be honest about that. It's just not high on my list of things to do. Would anyone else take a train to meet Anton Ferdinand and shake hands with him and say, good away goal at Tottenham for that 1-1 draw? But I believe he scored. I mean, the Payet thing. Arnautovic is still banging them in for league leaders Inter Milan in Italy. As Albania do attack, or they did attack, you'll have seen that. They attacked, but they're terrible, so nothing happened. They tried and they made effort, but England defenders had a bit of defending to do, and that's what they did. I missed what this was about. Why he's on thin ice? Who's on thin ice? Who's on thin ice at the moment? And for what reason? As Albania had a corner. Really would like England to get another goal in this half, purely for financial reasons. I mean, Albania were pinging it around in the box, I suppose. Like, they're trying. I suppose the effort level is there. Everyone's high-fiving everyone now because we cleared it. When did that start? When precisely, and what team and what defense started high-fiving everything? Oh, goes out for a goal kick. High five, high five, high five. Even when players make a mistake. They make a mistake and then they high five. Virgil van Dijk, media darling, who is vastly overrated. When he makes mistakes, which he does in every game, but no one talks about it, he does the thing where he's the one that made the mistake, but then he tries to rally around. Oh yeah, Dancing on Ice Tonight. That's quite good. He like goes, come on, guys, let's. And it's like, you're the one that made the mistake. No one else did. That's Liverpool for you. And Jamie Carragher. Anyone else seen Matt Letizia go on about a lot of unexpected things on YouTube? I just didn't expect that from Matt Letizia. Joey Barton, you expect it. Okay, Joey Barton's ranting about odd things that you didn't expect him to be talking about just in between general footballing podcasts. But Matt Letizia has absolutely gone off on one as well. Terrestrial TV. Yeah, I mean, they're always called celebrity, but they're not celebrities. Obviously, we know who Anton Ferdinand is, but all of the others, celebrity this, celebrity that, celebrity something islands, Bear Grylls and celebrities. I never know who any of them are. So, I mean, obviously, I'm just the wrong target audience now, as England just casually pass it around for fun. Where was Marcus Rashford when Lewis Skelly scored that goal? Surely he should have been in that position. And ITV know this game is wrong because they're already telling you that Fulham Crystal Palace in the FA Cup quarter-final. Who is left in the FA Cup? I've slightly forgot. But let's have a look. Fulham Palace, Preston Villa, Bournemouth City, and someone else that they haven't put in that list. It's Saturday 29th and Sunday the 30th. So I just wonder what everyone would, if you have to pick one of the existing teams. Preston Villa, Bournemouth City, Fulham Palace, Brighton Forest. Who would you prefer to win the FA Cup? Or don't care? Could be one of your answers. Obviously not City, that would be nonsense. Preston, no one really cares about them. Not Villa. Fulham Palace, Brighton Forest. Forest, says Lee. I would have said Forest, yeah. I did have an ex-friend who supported Forest, but he also said he liked Chelsea, which I always found really weird. I don't know why he did that. I rated Matt Letizia as a pundit. Dross has replaced him. Plus, he was right about COVID. Yes, indeed. It's unexpected that Letizia would start talking about this. I mean, I won't declare my vaccination status live in public, but yeah, I mean, I also made the correct decision that Letizia did. As Albania again attacked a bit, but our defense, the England defense, is just having a great time at the moment with this game. Forest to piss off Spurs fans with Nuno. Yeah, that's quite good. So many, like the Tottenham thing is just funny. Their song, the song that they sing, all of Tottenham songs are so bad. Being impartial, not from the West Ham point of view, of course, but being impartial, before Tottenham home games, when they strike up their little anthem-y thing, just from the neutral perspective, or even their perspective, you'd have to ask them, do you think that that sounds like motivating for your players? Do you think the opposition teams or players would, would like admire you for doing that? Because when it comes out, it starts so high pitched. Shite Heart Lane. So it starts off, it goes, but really high pitched. Like that. What are they thinking? What are they thinking? It just sounds, I don't want to say effeminate because you can't say that these days, but it doesn't sound physically strong or good in any way, or courageous or brave or bold, anything. It just sounds completely stupid. And that's their main thing. So they start with that. And then they have that really terribly drony, horrible song of that I don't care about Levy, he don't care about me. So it's just funny the way that different football teams have these things that obviously when you're in it, it's just, oh, you're biased and you hate the other team, so on and so on and so on. But like in West Ham, we wouldn't have that song. We wouldn't have any song like it. A bunch of West Ham fans were in the pub, on the train, whatever, on a YouTube channel, in anything, talking. And then one of them said, I've got a new song, mate. All right, what's the song? How does it go? And he goes, well, I've got the tune. All right, what's the tune? The tune is... So let me stop you there. That's crap. It's terrible. It's abysmal. Don't do it. And he goes, no, but I've got the lyrics as well. What are the lyrics? I don't care about Levy. He don't care about me. Terrible tune. Terrible lyrics. And they're so proud of their stadium. And Levy's business acumen was the thing that got in the stadium. And then, yes, he gets rid of a lot of managers. But when he gets rid of the managers, they already hate the manager by that point anyway. So those are the main reasons why Tottenham are and will always be a joke football club from the neutral or impartial perspective, because their fans whine about lots of things with delusions of grandeur. So that's why people don't like Tottenham, no matter what club they support, even if they don't like football. They don't like the game of football, but they hear things about Tottenham and they're like, that's stupid. That's nonsensical. There's no honour or nobility, dignity, validity, credibility. There's none of that. I don't like them. With West Ham, people, I find, can't pinpoint the reasons why they don't like us. They just don't like us because they've been brainwashed to be, Chelsea fan, Tottenham fan, Arsenal fan, whatever it is. So they just know they shouldn't like us, so they don't like us. But if you say why, they can't say anything other than we're crap, and we know that anyway. They say our stadium's a bit shit, and that's just they're agreeing with us. They're actually empathizing with us in that matter. And apart from that, they can't find anything to criticize West Ham with, because we don't have delusions of grandeur. We know exactly what kind of club we are. And we just have a very specifically fantastic culture of just being generally funny and good looking. So that's Tottenham. Northey didn't want any part of this. Northey will be with you for the next England game against Latvia. So the mighty Latvian, whatever they're called, Northey will be doing that one. I might join him for a laugh, but I also might not. Joe Carbonate you start to rant. It's not. That was a coherent debate of mass proportions. About that was just a little verbal essay. They hate us because we're massive. They've always been a shit club, Tottenham. We're a mid-table team at the moment. That's delusions of grandeur. Dad's Army. I was trying to say that we don't have delusions of grandeur, but you've absolutely slammed that, because we are but just above the relegation battle team at the moment. Still 1-0 England. I don't think I'm going to get my 5-0. I'll be honest with you. So anyway, we've done Tottenham. Chelsea. So Chelsea's songs are among the worst in the league. Arsenal could give them a run for their money, and we'll get on to Arsenal. Chelsea songs are, someone who would enjoy Chelsea songs is someone who would eat strawberry jam tarts on purpose. Chelsea's two main songs, the song they start with before kickoff, the lyrics of the song are Chelsea, Chelsea. It's the name of their team. Well, it's not even Chelsea, it's one Chelsea. It's that Chelsea. And then it starts over again. They sing it for like 3 minutes. What? And they don't know, because Chelsea fans, they have a very short attention span, Chelsea fans. So they don't know what just happened a few minutes ago. They've got memories like goldfish. So they do, and then they look around. They know what's going on. Maybe they spilled food down themselves or something. And then the music starts up again. Chelsea. So they just say the name of their team. And then during the game, they sing Chelsea. That's their song. Chelsea, 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 Chelsea. That's the song. And then after the game, they've got that song by that band or whatever they're called. And the lyrics of that song, you won't be surprised to know, are Chelsea, Chelsea. That's the chorus of that song. Chelsea, 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 Chelsea. So 3 songs, same lyric. The lyric is the name of the football club. So it's incredible. And young Chelsea fans, the weird thing is they have no shame about supporting Chelsea. They have no shame about doing that, even though they only started supporting that because they had money at the time that they started liking football. And they all dressed in a funny way. I once was watching Chelsea game on football. Yeah, Chelsea had 10k average. Exactly. So I was watching Chelsea on TV, and I shit you not, a man in England should have got their second goal then, but they didn't. Stupid Harry Kane moron. A grown man, he's probably about 30 years old, a Chelsea fan in the stands, was wearing a t-shirt, so it was like a cotton t-shirt with a collar and a metal zip all the way up. So if you can imagine, if you will, a zipped t-shirt with a collar. So that's Chelsea, their nonsense. Arsenal is very easy to pick apart. So obviously there's just so many, it's just too obvious, but I'll say it because, you know, it's 40 minutes in and we've got nothing else to do for an hour apart from waffle nonsense. They didn't have that song. Arteta just said, we need a song, let's have a song. And everyone in the stadium would just say, okay. And they sing it with weird fake passion, as if they're trying to trick us into believing that they're actually passionate about that song. But you can't. It's beyond the realms of human capability. You can't suddenly be passionate about something. That's not how passion works. It has to be, it's from the soul. It's a genuine, authentic, emotional feeling that you have. So you can't trick us that you're suddenly passionate about your kickoff song, because we know you're not. And only about 20% of them sing it. Most of them are quite embarrassed about it. Whereas Chelsea fans have no shame. Some Arsenal fans, they just huddle over. Oh, England should have really got another goal there. They just huddle over as the rest of them sing, da, 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 whatever that song is. Nonsense. Very stupid. Even if they say it's about North London, well, their rivals, Tottenham, are in North London, so that doesn't make sense. So that's nonsense. Then you've got, they dress in black for no reason, what they were told to, like a week ago, in footballing terms. They were just like, dress in black. Okay, they did that. Wave flags. Okay. Bang a drum. Okay. And then their songs, Arsenal songs, are absolutely abysmal, because for all of time, they've had one song, which is just, it's not even a song. They just shout up the name of their football team, in case they forget. They just say, Arsenal, Arsenal. They heave, they vomit the name Arsenal out onto the football pitch. That's their one song. Then the second they tried to have was just, Arsenal, something that the finest team the world has ever seen. They tried to have that song, but it's stupid because they're just taking the piss of themselves, because they're not the finest team the world has ever seen. That would be, Real Madrid, Barcelona, these types of team, AC Milan in the 90s. So they're not the finest team the world has ever seen. So that's stupid. And also the key point is, it's not an original song. Now, in the last season and a half, they've picked up the Allez Allez song that Liverpool brought back from Europe. Marseille used to sing it first. That Allez Allez, Allez Allez, Allez. Liverpool took that from Europe. They sang it first in the Premier League. The second team to sing that in the Premier League was actually Villa. about the boys in claret and blue. And then Arsenal heard two other English teams sing a French song, and that they were like, "That's it. That's our third song. We've got it. We've got it, guys." So the first one, the original one, is just shouting Arsenal again and again and again, and the other two is just copying something else. So everything they do in Arsenal Football Club, just from start to finish, just copies other teams. So that's Arsenal and why everyone despises them, I would say. If it's not a Coldplay song, next to Harry, yeah, they don't deserve the right to sing that one. Very, very true. I remember, yes, I saw that clip as well. That was very the crazy gang. Yeah, Wimbledon. Like my first memory of Wimbledon just sums up my life as a West Ham fan, which is just a footballing life of shit. Was in the late 90s. It could have been mid 90s. Oh God, it's just honestly, it's like what West Ham does to you. I'd got back in. I think it was from a part-time job, so this must have been mid to late 90s. And obviously, at that time in the 90s, I did the match of the day thing where you don't find out the result on purpose, and then you watch match of the day. Oh God, I don't know if anyone else remembers this game, but West Ham went up 3-0. I know you know this result. I know you. As soon as I say that, West Ham went up 3-0. I know you know what game I'm talking about. So I'm sitting there, I finished work. I'm quite happy. 3-0, that's good. And then the first Wimbledon goal goes in on Match of the Day highlights. And at that point, I know what's coming next. I'm just watching it at the time, and I think I know what's coming next. This is obviously the game was over, and obviously there's no betting at that point online anyway. So anyway, when Wimbledon won, we didn't have a phone to spoil every result, watching the whole game on teletext. So anyway, Wimbledon won 4-3. It's just the name Wimbledon. I'd forgotten about that, but then suddenly brought back the memory. One of the many absolutely shockingly bad West Ham memories, which is why when we start every game, I barely believe we could ever possibly get a draw out of it. There's like one random one. It seems random, but I'm sure it was a quarter final. I think it was the FA Cup quarter final. Obviously, it could have been the League Cup when we were at home against Chelsea. This was either 2001 or 2. And Chelsea, I think the Chelsea won 3-2. 92nd or 93rd minute goal. That was in the days of like John Terry and this and that. He might have even scored it. But yeah, just phenomenally abysmal West Ham memories. If that's brought to mind anyone else's worst mentally damaging West Ham game, then just go ahead. Let's just exercise the demons as we get toward the end of the season. Whereas at the end of the season, West Ham, we really only have, I would say, the Tottenham game to look forward to. I mean, they'll probably have a new manager and a new manager bounce by that point. But seeing as it's half time in this terrible England game where it's only 1-0 up, not very helpful to my 5-0 dreams. Obviously, Wolves is next. And then Bournemouth at home, Liverpool away, Southampton at home, Brighton away, Tottenham at home, Man U away. Nice to win those two, I suppose. Forest at home, Ipswich away. Why does it say Man U away twice? Oh, they've buggered that up. Oh, they've included some. We've got those fixtures in America. They've included. Okay, that's a bit weird. Yeah, so the last home game of this absolutely abysmal season is Forest at home on the 18th of May, and the season finishes on the 25th of May. Was Harry a manager then? I think so. No, wait, was he? No, he wasn't. I forgot. Unless you mean the Wimbledon one. If I put West Ham 3, Wimbledon 4, I was 98, 99. So, yeah. Yeah, the Liverpool final, I mean, we all think about Lionel Scaloni and if he'd have let that go. But then, if we win next year, I think we could win something next year. Let's just say the FA Cup, because obviously if it's 2026, because if we won something in 2023, I've been waiting for what mathematical sense it will make. And 26, that sounds nice. And then maybe we could win something in 2029. So then you could have, like a T-shirt or hoodie or something with like winners. Then it's like 23, 26, 29. So that's my belief, that Potter will sign a lot of young, energetic, fit, enthusiastic, and British championship, not Champions League, championship players. Footballing life of incredible peaceful. Yeah, Forest do copy. I mean, you say all, I mean, we know it's about 2. Dating myself, that must be. Is that a typo? James Godsave. That's a good footballing name. If there ever was one, you've got to be a goalkeeper with a name like that. So anyway, is anyone actually watching the England game? Does anyone care about the England game at this point in time? Or we could just run through lists of other football teams that we don't like and the reasons why we don't like them. Obviously, I've done the main ones. I've done Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal. They're easiest not to like. Man U goes without saying. It really does. Now, and you're not supposed to say in public that you would ever enjoy watching a child cry, because that makes you sound a bit like a psychopath. But when West Ham play Man United at the London Stadium, and families from the Essex and Kent area go to watch Manchester United, their team, and we've just had some good results against them recently, and then the Manchester United supporting children in the London Stadium are in tears, which I think shows a lot. It just shows a piece of psychology and personality about your average Manchester United supporting family, probably from the southeast of England, in that they will have just completely built up the occasion for their child, that this is going to be wonderful and amazing, and not given them any form of, resilient potential about that they might lose this game of football. That never would have come into the family conversation. It was just, we're going to go up and we'll have a great day in London, and you can go to the Westfield shopping mall. It's one of the retail jewels of Europe. You can get Popeye's chicken or something. Oh, wonderful. Oh, thanks, Dad. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be so good. Oh, I'll get to sleep early. We're going to have a great day. And then they get there, and then the game of football doesn't go their way, but they haven't prepared their child for that eventuality. That, for me, sums up the psychology of someone who would consciously choose to support. Dating myself. I thought you meant you were self-loving in a sense. In the date, I thought it was like I was dating myself there. So that's what they call it. Real Dream Fantasy. This is better than Southgate. Yeah, I mean, England were fine at the start of the Southgate era, and we did try like this in friendlies. This is basically a friendly, and qualifiers at the start of the Southgate tenure. But then everyone just got bored with his complete nonsense and just boringness, much as the supporters or our compatriots did during the Southgate era, when everything was okay, but got progressively worse. As he would try to win at all costs, but not really a cost. We were just absolutely abysmal at that point in time. So they're trying to go through some of the highlights. It should be 4-0 up, really. I mean, who was that with the header? Was that Bellingham? Yeah, so you had the Bellingham diving header, should have been a goal. Kane should have finished it anyway, but didn't. Was it Dan Burns' header? Should have gone in. So I should be winning money from this football game, but as it turns out, I'm not. I'm down a matter of very small pounds. Yeah, Southgate. The problem with Southgate, I mean, obviously Southgate came in after the funny Allardyce thing, which we can all be glad of what happened to Allardyce. Yeah, Southgate play a cautious, boring football with a squad of vipers. Yeah, I think the difficulty is with England, again, is just hype and ego and the media. Because what we are good at, England, the country, is media. And in some senses, it's our slight downfall in others. Because just, quite clearly and normally, England and obviously America, in terms of media, if you look at the media of other countries, it's truly abysmal. Everything, even if you just go to many other countries in the world and you just look at the basics like the opening credits and end credits and the way they present things, and we take it for granted, but we're so good at media that we've created what we see before us today, which means that we can just hype up everything. Like the Premier League is constantly called the best league in the world. I mean, as watching West Ham this season, we would all agree that just this is a terrible football we're seeing on an ongoing basis. But it's just hyped up. So what this means that I'm getting to eventually, is that players believe their own hype. So when you have a player who is world class and who does things like wins a double league and Champions League for Real Madrid, who are the best team in the world, when that player, Jude Bellingham, then goes into the England camp, he is better than everyone else. As a footballer, in my opinion, he's the best footballer that we've got. But if you take away opinions, he's playing for what must be called the best team in the world. Maybe people would split hairs and call him one of the best. But he's playing for them and he's winning Champions Leagues and leagues. I mean, maybe they'll probably win it this year. But anyway, so he's better than everyone else, and he walks in with a swagger. And then Phil Foden, and obviously Harry Kane has to then stick his nose in, so to speak, and be the captain, the big man. And it doesn't quite work. Someone needs to sort that situation out somehow. I mean, Thomas Tuchel needs to be the one to do it. But obviously, Gareth Southgate didn't sort that situation out at all. He just told them, presumably all, that they were just wonderful. So, yeah, I mean, the Rashford thing. Again, if anyone did miss the last West Ham game and my fantastic Tim Smith theory, that if many footballers in the Premier League looked terrible and weird and had acne and were all gangly and scary, like looked worse than Peter Crouch, and if they were called Tim Smith and they scored the same number of goals and they had the same number of assists as these cool fashion players with their names and their haircuts, I mean, I'm thinking Calvin Phillips, obviously. Rasmus Højlund got his first goal in 22 games against relegated Leicester City and now thinks he's good. So you have these players that don't produce anything, but they've got a name and maybe they've got a haircut or maybe they do like sponsorship or something, and people just go along with it. So that's, I mean, Rashford hasn't bought himself credit with his England performances. The only person, and this proves it, who has ever been vocally pro Rashford for England comes to mind is that absolute moron, Jamie O'Hara. And before the Euros, when Sky Sports were doing their debate with various pundits, he was the only one that said, "Oh, Rashford's got to go. He's got star quality. Oh, he's so good." And then, someone said to him, "Oh, but Rashford doesn't run." And he turned to them and said, "England don't need players that run." And then there was just a kind of cricket silence as everyone just felt sorry for him, really, that he'd said such an embarrassingly stupid thing on television, that England don't need players that run. I mean, it doesn't matter anyway, because we had, we didn't play the form players at the time. Cole Palmer was a form player at the time. He barely got Exactly, Danny Ings. Ings sounds like a funny name, and he's kind of smiles a lot. I must be the only person that don't like Southgate. Yeah, he's abysmal. He's abysmal. He was just better than Allardyce. He was better than, because we were so bad, because we believed in our own hype. Southgate was, I mean, Allardyce, whatever. He was obviously like Roy Hodgson, unbelievable, terrible. Fabio Capello, obviously Ericsson, just rubbish. Rubbish managers. Gonzo's favorite subscribers back. I'm convinced that all of these so-called trolls are one and the same person. That's my conspiracy theory. I would say conspiracy theory. I had to. Has everyone turned? There's a lovely view on there. Has everyone turned off the microphone on their phone so people don't listen to you? We know that they're on the time. People are listening all the time. I mean, not people, but you know, the machines are listening all the time. I already know they're listening all the time. Everyone knows this. But I happened to watch that Bradley Walsh documentary on the pyramids. I thought it was all right. It shows what a boring person I am. I thought it was okay. I was watching that. The phone happened to be on the sofa at the time. And then ever since then, I keep getting everything about Egypt relentlessly. One TV program for 1 hour. And now my phone thinks I'm an Egyptophile or whatever the word would be. I don't really know where I was going with that. But anyway, make sure you go to your settings, the microphone, and turn that off. I can't remember how I got into Egypt from Phil McCock. And probably being the same person. Something with Rashford. If you can find 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon in between Marcus Rashford and the pyramids, pyramids have got more points than Marcus Rashford has. Something like that. Foden. Like, what has Phil Foden? Again, talking about the Euros. Gary Neville always called Phil Foden a generational talent and always said, things have gone badly wrong if we can't find a place on the football pitch for Phil Foden, which is not how football works. That's why Gary Neville, firstly, must have been such a bad manager, because he just thinks you must fit in players who are good when they play for City against terrible teams. But also, Gary Neville is very, very annoying. And I think more and more people are getting wise to Gary Neville's purpose in life, which is to be a property baron, which is why he's relentlessly putting out positive press releases in video format for that Sir, whatever his name is. His name escapes me now. Financial Gandalf. Ratcliffe. So he's always doing softball questions of, oh, what about this? Oh, we'll make the business better. Okay, bye. Thanks, Jim. For that is because obviously he wants to get in on the property game, which, much like King Charles and the royal family, Manchester United are going to be taxpayer funded. Southgate got results, let the clearance in tournaments. Yeah, caution. He was too cautious. Do you think we need a balance of athletes and technical players? No. I think we should play Bowen because I'm very biased. I'm unable to not be biased about Jared Bowen. So I think he should be standing where Phil Foden's now. And I'm pretty confident he would have got into the game a lot more than Phil Foden did in the first half. I'm Gonzo. I mean, yeah, I don't know, like what to do. Paid by the rat. I quite like that. Quite a nice expression. Second half has kicked off. Few people are in their seats. I'd say 50% of the plebs and none of the hoity-toity upper classes are all enjoying their mini burgers and, I don't know, spinach gyozas or whatever they serve in the posh lounges of Wembley Stadium. Will Phil Foden was at 12? Yes, some people always I mean, I don't know if you're planning something, Chippy. Are you gonna? Will he always look 12? One would assume. The question is, can England score 4 goals in this game? As Rashford is still on the football pitch, I'm probably going to say no. You get Jared Bowen on there, we've got a chance. I'm going rather than get up and leave you with a blank screen and make this any boring than it is. I'm going to message my children who are elsewhere in my vast mansion to do various things because it's rapidly approaching bedtime and so forth. So there, thank you all for just sticking with my absolute nonsense rambles. Gary Neville loves Keir Starmer. Says, "Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't mind talking about this kind of thing. Some people get a bit sensitive about it. I don't. It's just matter of fact. But before the election, Gary Neville made that promotional video with Keir Starmer, in which Keir Starmer, his slogan in that video with Gary Neville was, 'We're not going to pull the tax plunger.' That's what he said, word for word. I know some people find talking about politics sensitive, but it's not. It's just saying a thing that happened. So Keir Starmer said, Labour governments in the past have just pulled the tax plunger, and that's not what we're going to do. And that was his phrase, we're not going to pull the tax plunger, which obviously has been shown to be complete rubbish eventually. Which is slightly, Gary Neville loves rich people. I mean, I think he came from a normal background, didn't he? So now he's probably got stars in his eyes and he's thinking about, he loves the word generational, so he's probably thinking about generational wealth. If he can just get in, he's obviously got the media on his side, as Phil Foden almost gets the ball, does he? Oh, yeah, he got it, good. Would rather see, I mean, I'd never have Rashford anywhere near a football pitch. Bowen, Watkins. I think it depends on form. You've always got to play Jared Bowen because Bowen is always in form and he's always popping up with an assist or a goal. But apart from that, I think what the England manager must do and won't do is pick players on form rather than names and clubs they play for and looking good in certain games. Does one pull a plunger? I don't really know. I suppose I don't really think about it. I was too busy thinking about the economic impact it would have on the country. But I was thinking, what do you do to a plunger? I mean, I suppose you plunge it. If he'd have said we can't plunge the tax plunger, then he would never have got voted in. Kilman, put Kilman up front. Why not? What do you think about Dan Burns of all playing centre half? No, it's just a little fashionable moment. I mean, I say pick form players, but you can't really pick Dan Burn and hope to win a World Cup. I don't know how those two things happen at the same time. You thrust it. Again, if Keir Starmer said, Labour governments in the past have just thrusted the tax plunger, I think people would have caught him up on that. They would say, come on, mate. There is a limit and you've gone past it. Does anyone know when England under 21s play? Because Skulls is in the squad. And we've got a lot of West Ham in, let's have a look. England under 21s fixtures. Mainly West Ham, the young England teams. More matches. 24th of March. Monday, 24th of March, England under 21, Portugal under 21. And then not again until, in June is the Euro under 21s, in which England in their group have Czech Republic, Slovenia, Germany, and Kazakhstan. If anyone wants to bang out a Czechwy Borat voice. But apart from that, they're playing now. It says half time. It'd actually probably be more interesting than this. It says it's a friendly. France under 21 3, England under 21 2. Goal scorers for England: James McAtee and Harvey Elliott. Lineups. No, for England under 21, it's not a bad under 21 team. Up front, they have Harvey Elliott, Liam Delap, McAtee. The midfield is Philogene, Wharton, E. Anderson. Don't know who he is. Rico Lewis, Harwood Bellis, Egan Riley, Scott right back. Don't know who he is. And Beadle in goal. Don't know who he is. No, under 21s cannot see any West Ham players on the subs bench at all. Maybe they're in the under something else's. Ekatiki. Oh yeah, we were linked with him forever. Scored 2. Did he? Oh yeah, Hugo Ekatiki. Hugo. The only joke I know about the name Hugo is the book is called The Haunted House by Hugo First. It's not a very good joke. I heard it when I was 10 years old. Yes, 7 and 35. He scored those goals. And the other goal scorer for France is called Quentin Merlin. What a name. Yeah, McAtee will never leave City unless he's kicked out like Cole Palmer was. Sean Rogers from Malta. I'm home now, but football sounds too boring to watch. Yes, it's a lot of short passes. I mean, again, England had their chances in the first half. It could be 3. But what we saw at the end of Southgate, and then obviously when they were playing technically under Lee Carsley, which was a bit embarrassing for everyone, really, is that they would never pass. They would just want to do everything themselves and get the most touches on the ball at the time. Now they seem to be kind of behaving, but also too much. When they have a new manager and he's told them, pass and keep possession, whatever nonsense he's told them as professional footballers who've played with each other a lot. Yeah, they're playing it safe. They don't want to be the one to make a mistake. So, as a spectator sport, it's not particularly great, I'll be honest with you, unless you like to watch passing. Elliot Anderson is the Forest player. A. Scott is Alex Scott, the Bournemouth guy we wanted. And the goalkeeper Beadle is Sheffield Wednesday on loan for Brighton. There you go. Bit of stato work for what's it called? 1-0 England, should be 3 or 4, but we did not take our chances in the first half. There were some good chances. And this is a bit surprised they didn't go in. But now, I mean, just waiting for some form of substitution, anything to make it more exciting or interesting. Albania a League One side. Yeah. Maybe Championship. Camera pans to Teddy Sheringham and Dion Dublin. Dion Dublin probably the worst commentator on TV, although Lee Dixon is also abysmal. Was that Arsenal one called? Forgot his name now. He's the worst one. Name will come to you in a minute. I've been calling Chris Martin in your sleep, in your dreams, when you have sex with your wife. That's wrong. You are Robert Webb off of Peep Show. Not bad, I suppose. I mean, I'm a bit more, is it David Mitchell? Is that his name? I've got the enunciation of a David Mitchell combined with the nonsense of Robert Webb. Teddy Sheringham at West Ham was also strange. Obviously, I think it came after Ian Wright at West Ham, which was also strange. Can anyone else name journeyman strikers that have gone to West Ham for a one-season payday? I mean, I guess you could say Paolo Futre, but that doesn't quite count. I mean, you could say David Di Michele. He wasn't journeyman. He was just abysmal. He was just absolutely crap. Gordon probably coming on for two. Would you want Trafford to come to us? Who the hell is that? Unless you mean they're going to pack up Old Trafford brick by brick and move it to us. Oh, James Trafford. Burnley. Oh, didn't they keep a huge amount of clean sheets this season? Like 20 clean sheets in a row or something. It says he's 22, height 1.97 meters. That's quite tall. That is phenomenally tall. Then yeah, sure, why not? The only thing a goalkeeper really needs to be is tall. So yeah, sign him up. Oops, Devil Suka. Marouane Chamakh, I mean, yeah, he was just terrible. Jelic also terrible. So many terrible. Just the number. Allegedly, it's like 54, isn't it? That's the last number I've read is that West Ham in the last, 25 years or whatever it is, signed 54 strikers. Like, is that real? Obviously, Suka was part of getting the with Steve Lomas equalising against Man U, whenever that was. I mean, these are just, now we're just naming crap West Ham players, and we'd literally be here all day. Benny McCarthy. I'm trying to think of a specific journeyman. Benny McCarthy, obviously, yes, he didn't really play for us, but who actually played for us? I mean, I suppose Andy Carroll, you could almost say, because that was the end of his career. Ooh, I can't. I just saw that Harry Kane chance again. My God. Still only 1-0. Should be more. Albania are asking for it. Who's the guy from Fulham? Oh, yeah. I'm close. Tip of the tongue. I've forgotten. He's got a brother, hasn't he? There's two of them with the same name. From Fulham. I'm so close to getting it. Can anyone name that player? Who is the guy from Fulham we signed some years ago? What on earth was his name? Can't remember him. I mean, yeah, it's just the number of players. Marco Borriello. Who the hell's he? Did he ever play for us? Let's have a look. There's photos of it happening. I did tune out of West Ham for about a year. Oh yeah, there's a photo of Sam Allardyce posing with Marco Borriello and Antonio Nocerino. God, they were some miserable times. 25th of January 2014. West Ham United delighted to announce the second signing of the day. Italy international Marco Borriello, capped 7 times, barely an international. He joins from Roma, the 31-year-old. Wow, what a West Ham player. 31 years old, 7 caps for Italy. Sign him up. Absolutely sign him up. Never been to England before, doesn't speak a word. 31 Next age 32. I mean, really. He, after further loan spells with Empoli, Regina, Sampdoria, and Treviso, that season he scored his first career hat-trick. Blah blah blah. I mean, he just moved around. No one liked him. He was at AC Milan. He was at Roma. He was at Juventus. Then he went to Genoa. Then he went to Roma again. And then after those 8 or 9 clubs, at the grand old age of 31, he came to West Ham in 2014. My God. What a joke business we have always been run as. We are abysmal. We are embarrassing. Why do I keep thinking Petrov? Was Petrov one of those players that never... Maybe he got one game for us or something like that. Fredericks was good for us, just injury prone. I mean, the next stage thing is just like the Fulkrug thing. You sign a player when they're 31, they don't remain a 31-year-old striker for you forever. It's just Marco Borriello is just Fulkrug. They're one and the same person. It's like what they call regen. Every 10 years, there's an old man regenerated. He's 31, and they go, "Oh, 31," and then the wise people who make transfer signing decisions at West Ham go, "Oh, 31. Yeah, if you can be 31 straight." The next one is 32, then 33. It carries on. Yeah, Carew. I can't even remember how many games he played for us, if any. Yeah, Modibo Maiga, abysmal. Is it Ayew? Was Fulham one? Was it Ayew? One of the Ayews? There was 2 of them. I can't remember which one we got. Could look. Might as well look it up. Ayew West Ham. Which one was it? Jordan Andre. One of them. Who knows? Or Andre Ayew. He signed for a club record fee. I'm not sure how old he was at the time. Let's have a look. So it says he was 43 appearances, 9 goals. My God. Club record fee of £20 million on a 3-year contract. Excellent business. Again, his debut game for West Ham against Chelsea lasted 35 minutes before he was substituted after sustaining a thigh injury. Good. Well done. And he left in January 2018, whatever, because that's just the way West Ham do things. This is fishing on watching. Well, we're watching. We're all along for the ride of England. It's basically like watching West Ham, although England are 1-0 up instead of losing. But the sensations of being bored to tears is very much like a West Ham game. Yeah, and Valencia scored a couple of good goals. Ilan, don't think he scored. You could make a team of these. Is it Mladen Petric? Victor Urbina, yeah, another just funny one. Mladen. Malade, sounds Scottish. Did he play for West Ham? Let's have a look. Apparently he did. Again, he's in a West. Again, it was in that year. It was in that 13-14. I tuned out of life at that point. I got married for a second time. Oh, here we go. It's on the West Ham website. Mladen Petric, former clubs. You can see why we signed him up. Former clubs like this: Baden, Grasshopper, Bâle, Dortmund, Hamburger, Fulham. Dear Lord. The Croatian striker is a familiar face to most. having played last season at Fulham. 32-year-old Petric has fought an impressive 45 caps for his country. The forward joins West Ham on a deal which runs until the end of a one-season deal. Oh, we've got to get goals in. Who should we go for? What about Mladen Petric? He's 32. All right. Let's do it. That's probably, they may be the top, among the top two or three. If you have like a West Ham all-time shitters, 4-3-3, you put Petric, Fulkrug, and Borriello up front. A lot of West Ham fans won't know who on earth you're talking about. Yeah, Picune. We've got an Australian Californian. Afternoon from Thousand Oaks, California, mate. Still 1-0 England. Very little football has taken place. Oh, it says Bowen coming on. I missed that. Bowen and Gordon coming on, it says. Oh, yeah. Well, there we go. We've got some West Ham to watch. Pretty sure Bowen's going to score. Yeah, Savio can't really be included because he was young in this list. Well, because he said mate at the end of it. I don't think Americans really say. He's probably not American. He's just obviously English living in California for God knows what reason. Maybe he's homeless. He's on the streets of California getting free Wi-Fi from a local cafe and watching YouTube. Well, Bowen's on the pitch. He's got 20 minutes. Obviously, Thomas Tuchel, in all of his incredible wisdom, thinks that he's only now seen enough. After 67, 8 minutes, whatever, he's finally realised Marcus Rashford is in fact a terrible footballer, and Phil Foden has in fact had zero impact on this football game. He's given him, because he's Phil Foden, he plays for Manchester City. That's about it. But yeah, definitely give the Champions League club players more game time than anyone else, because that's the way the world works if you're Thomas Tuchel. Albania actually did have a chance then, but clearly they mucked it up. And England, just abysmal. Just terrible. Antonio Mallorca. I mean, I'm just looking up these players, so you could put in just porn star names or criminals, and they would then be my search engine forever. I mean, if I put in Antonio Mallorca, I just get Antonio. So I think that might. Oh yeah, the Phil McCock put that in. Oh yeah, shouldn't have searched that. That's in my Scott Keane. Are these now just porn stars? No, nothing is coming up. We are clearly in wind-up territory now. Fortunately, I put in West Ham about that Mallorca. Robbie Keane. Yes, there was the Scott part of it that confused me there. God, England really love passing it around and then doing nothing with it. Absolutely bugger all. Yeah, it's always strikers. That's the funny thing. When we sign defenders, we quite often sign bad defenders, but we've just got this fetish about old strikers. It's just whenever we sign, like, people always say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. It's not. That wouldn't make any sense. You could just be insane in various ways. However, It's just a sign of nonsense every time. Yeah, I mean, Zabaleta was okay. Obviously, Everett wasn't. I mean, I would ban him, but we've got minimal viewers today, so we need all of them. Yeah, Boa Morte. I mean, he played a little bit in one season. Yeah, West Ham had a reputation for signing, pretty much crappy players from other teams. But it's just like the logic, just the thought process that goes behind that, and just not learning. When we started so long ago, Albania actually had a good chance there. So long ago, just signing old strikers that didn't work, but just thinking. I suppose that's the arrogance of Sullivan, when you just think, "Oh no, okay, never mind the past. Everything that's happened, nothing is to learn from. Nothing is a mistake. Nothing is a failure. Nothing. It doesn't matter. There were always reasons why it didn't work. None of them were my decision-making capabilities." So this time, the 31-year-old striker is going to be good. We're just going to do the same thing again. Now, we've got Graham Potter now. This is why we need Graham Potter, even though we have all been just bored to tears by the actual football. He clearly has ideas, and some of those ideas are don't sign 31-year-old strikers. This is why, no matter the quality of the football recently, I still believe in Potter. I don't think Bowen's actually got onto the pitch yet, has he? The ball hasn't actually gone out of play in about, this would be 4 minutes, I believe. Here he comes. Thank God for that. Thank the Lord. What is going on in the Albania box? Okay, so Phil Foden can finally do one, and Jared Bowen now has 15 minutes to effect a goal. Terrible game of football. Gordon, Rodgers, and Bowen, who really on form should have started above Rashford, Foden, and whoever else is coming off the pitch. Rashford's terrible. Bowen's been doing nothing. Yeah, Jimmy Greaves is a good one. Quite an interesting story. Just the way he left, he was like, "I'd rather leave," and we were like, "Okay, fair enough." I don't know who is going off for Rodgers, either Bellingham or what's his name, Curtis Jones. Probably Curtis Jones. Albania keeper's pretending to be injured. Thought that was a pitch invader, but it's the Albanian coach. Yeah, Lee Chapman. That was also in that depressing era of, that would have been what, 94, 95 or something like that, when we had Don Hutchison with us for the first time. Also just terrible West Ham memories, when everything was about the new so-called Premier League and everything was getting a bit more glamorous, and West Ham were just continually either getting relegated or playing 4-5-1 at best. And I know this because I used to collect those stickers when there were sticker albums back in the 90s. I mean, there are now, and then I got all the West Ham stickers and I stuck them on my wall, and depressingly had to stick them in a 4-5-1 formation because that's what we played. We were the only team doing that. Everyone else was 4-4-2. That was quite good. You got two strikers. Some were a bit more adventurous and played different things. Even the 3-5-2 was coming into play. But no, not West Ham, 4-5-1. Keep it safe. Also, do you remember in the early 90s when this video series came out, and it was always it was like 101 best goals, And for some reason, West Ham goals were always so bad. Like they were never constructed goals. This was through, the video would obviously include maybe late 70s, 80s, and early 90s. They were never any good goals. They always used to have the top whatever of other teams doing these like top corner 35-yarders passing moves. And West Ham goals would just be so bad. What did your wife say to you about sticking football stickers to the wall? Is that an age reference? This was in the 90s, and I was but a young twat at that time. Yo-yos in the 90s. Yeah, I mean, we would have been, apart from obviously Graham Potter saved us from that and the shitness of the other three teams this season. There we go. Bowen getting involved. Bowen doing in 1 minute what Phil Foden couldn't do in 70. Harry Kane. Okay. There we go. Exactly. Bowen instant impact. See, he gets on the pitch. He shows for it in a way that Phil Foden never did. And now England have... I don't think I even bet on 4-0 to just slightly hedge my bets. Now England needs to score 3 goals. Yeah, I didn't bet on that. I only have 5-0. Somewhat unlikely, although now Bowen's on the pitch, who knows? Maybe everyone will start to up their game. Semi-assist. Bowen has assisted Jazz's semi into achieving fully erect status, as it should be at this time on a Friday night. Does anyone have particularly nice plans for the weekend? Let's talk about weekend plans, because this game of football is terrible. Is anyone doing anything of note on the weekend? I'm absolutely not. Harry Kane, why does it say 1 goal in 1 match? That doesn't make sense. Rugby. Fair enough. I used to watch England rugby games, and then I just stopped caring because I realised I didn't like rugby. Yeah, I mean, I suppose we did get there in the end. We got better. I think it all started with John Hartson. I think he started us on a roll of actually scoring a few goals. But before that, we were always one of those teams that just had... Again, you look at other teams and they'd have the 25 goals a season striker. The Premier League era would come in. They'd have the Tony Yeboah banging them in, and Ravanelli and Zola. And our top scorer was always like 7 goals a season. 1 goal in this tournament. There we go. This Albania goalkeeper has been on the floor for a lot of the game. I will say that. And he's holding his face. Is that Jordan Henderson? My star midfielder you were referring to. Why would this Albania dude need to lie on the floor? Just let everyone in the stadium go home. They're replaying something to keep us entertained. Oh, the goals. 2-0. I can't see a scoring 3. Miss Leroy Rosinia. Stretch it off. Yeah, they didn't show anything. He just wants to rest. Why? What possible reason would you put Jordan Henderson onto the football pitch in England, Albania? Obviously, any game, any England game on the 80th minute when we're winning 2-0, and then against Albania. Why would you do that? No, Callum Wilson won't. Not Graham Potter. Graham Potter knows what he's doing. And we're all going to be celebrated. We'll be at Wembley. 2026 FA Cup final. I can see it now. What's wrong with the goalkeeper? Number one, what's wrong with the goalkeeper? Yeah, has he got photos of him in a compromising position? What reason? What vocal reason? If someone in the press conference says, "And why did you put Jordan Henderson on the football pitch?" What is he? What, for a bit of to calm the players down, to set the pace and tempo of the game? Why would you do that? Doesn't make any sense. All right, Castrati. That's a great name. Oh, Declan Rice going off. Pointing skills. There's a painting decorating job there somewhere, but I'm not quite sure what it is. Sing a bedtime lullaby to Skelly. Yes, 10 minutes left in this show of the game. So we got, I don't know why Henderson would come on the pitch. Yeah, international break, just no football on a weekend. Just an abysmal way to live a weekend. Having said that, I only just realized that on Call of Duty, they brought back a map called Rebirth Resurgence Island, which is the best map. They've tried to improve it. These days, they try and improve games and they make them worse by trying to improve them. It's very annoying. So I think I might spend a few hours regressing to just like teenage video game playing and just play Call of Duty and take it really seriously and wear like a thing and a microphone and speak to people about where I'm going in the game. That's probably the highlight of the weekend, plus a barbecue roasted pork shoulder eaten in a burger. That's going to be the highlight of the weekend. If anyone has any weekend highlights, please do share them with us in the chat. Food-based or otherwise. Yes, listening for footsteps and not saying anything rude into the microphone. Well, England are trying to attack just to, entertain the remaining 30, 40,000 poor souls that are still there in the dark watching this game. Exciting times. There's always, 30-ish people here. Someone must be doing something interesting this weekend, just by law of averages, like going to a friend's wedding or court case, doing the gardening or shouting at a neighbor. 27th anniversary. Me and my wife, we never remember our anniversary. I'm the one that remembers and I don't care, and she cares less, which I think is good. I think with couples, I think some things you can disagree on and some things you should agree on. And one is if you're going to care about, birthdays and anniversaries and Christmases. I don't even care about Christmas. My children are too old for Christmas, so it's very boring. Very boring. Buy an engagement ring on Saturday. Wish me luck. I mean, surely you've got the ring all like sized up. Sounds like you're going to go and steal it. I don't mean that. I mean, surely you've got the ring made to size, made to order. Also, the engagement thing is very funny because from what we know of TV and movies, the woman has no idea that the man is going to be or shall we continue this situation? She never has any clue. It's the same as in American movies. The woman is always thrilled. This would never happen in real life. The woman is always thrilled that the man has bought the house without asking her anything about what will be the most important financial commitment of their lives. In American movies, he always it's like they look in the newspaper, or they sometimes go to the house, or they drive past it or whatever, and then, oh, I know you like the house, honey. And she's like, oh, but Steve, we could never afford it. And he's like, Barbara, guess what? And she's like, no, Steve. And he's like, I bought the house. And she's like, oh, Steve, I love you so much. It wouldn't, in real life, this would never happen. The woman would be like, Steve, you idiot. So you went through with the paperwork, the banking, and you actually bought this house without double checking with me that would be an okay decision. Anyway, she's always thrilled with it. So that would never happen. That's nonsense. And yeah, the engagement thing, down on one knee. And he's like, oh, I had no idea. How did you have no idea? You just didn't, you thought this was just casual. But ignore that. I'm sure it'll all be fine. Yeah, I mean, how are you going to, pop the question? How are you going to do it? What are you going to arrange? Yeah, these days, if you say happy wife, happy life, people say that's sexist, but it's not. It's smart. It's good. Gaius Augustus, yeah, I mean, as an old married man, my advice is just don't argue about anything. Just agree. You don't always have to do it, but just agree. Just so, that's very good. Yes. Oh, this. Let me think about that, and then just discuss it. Oh, really? Oh, and then just you have to agree. Don't disagree. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter. It could be anything. I never want you to see your family again. Oh, fine, because she'll never stop. It will never end until you agree. So just agree at the beginning. And then, maybe get away with it sometime. But apart from that, don't try to disagree with anything. It's not worth it. Too many rom-coms. By the missus. 90 days age. You're showing your age, Trudge. These days, us young people, we're all on different screens anyway. So my wife, she watches stuff on her iPad and phone, double screening. Kids on their devices. I get the large TV. That's the one thing I get. That's the only thing I ask for. It's the only thing I want. I have the TV. So please let me have the TV. That's mine. And everything else, just I'll agree with. Are you listening to my house? I think you've mixed movies there. Who's the best ever Albanian footballer? I don't know. Who is the best ever Albanian footballer? Be careful, you may get in trouble. No, not me. Come on. I don't get in trouble. Yeah, so marital advice. We have some very, very old men in the chat. Do you have any other marital advice that a young fellow could use at this stage of his life? I mean, I've obviously covered the main one. I don't really know what others are there. Oh yeah, date night. That's funny. Because in England, in English culture, we always laugh at American culture for good reason. And one of the things we always laughed at was when they started talking about date night in movies. This really came up in the late 90s. And we were like, oh, date night, that sounds so fake. But it's actually very good. It's very necessary. Otherwise, you do eventually become roommates. If you don't specifically, still make the effort, which is very difficult when you're old and tired and every day is the same and you're bored. You're very tired by the routine and children and all this stuff. It's very, very easy to put off the date night and just stay at home. But it's actually highly valuable for a relationship to maintain the date night effort even after the children have come in and effectively ruined any shred or notion of ongoing romance. So that's my second piece of advice. My pub quiz question was, who's most people's favorite ever dictator? What was the answer? Surely the dictator, surely that's everyone's favorite, because you have to say, yeah, I mean, obviously that's just, I would have thought that goes without saying. If you say, oh, that woman is incredibly sexually attractive, don't say that. But yeah, I mean, also, you know, phones these days, social media, clean up your social media, you know, behave yourself online. Don't go liking and following things that you shouldn't, because you think that she doesn't notice you looking at the phone, but she knows. She knows very much. Julius Caesar, which one? Roman history, let's get into that. They were all called, there was many, like 15 Julius Caesars. Basically, you've got to go places you don't want to go. Well, you know. Small child procuring a sock. Also getting to bed.
I know.
Oh, good. Pickford playing volleyball with it. Jeff Hurst falling asleep. I mean, we all are at this point. Julius was the one with the official title as dictator, so probably that one. See, history chat. Not enough football watch-alongs go into Roman history, I find. Back on the Egyptian history, the Bradley Walsh, he's a bit tiring. He tries to be funny when he isn't. But the Egyptian documentary he's got on Sky History is quite interesting and also concerning. I haven't double-checked if things are true, but they said that if you multiply the height in meters of the Grand Pyramid by 43,200, you get the diameter of the Earth. And if you multiply the square perimeter base by the same number, 43,200, you get the circumference of the Earth, which, if true, is highly concerning. Dear God, Julius Caesar wasn't a dictator. He was part of the triumvirate with Mark Antony. Was Chippy a history teacher? GCSE O-level history. More like. Circumference of the Earth. Yeah. There we go. I want to come back to this. Why you don't want to go there? That actually, there's something there. Ricky B is not keen on going into feminine areas. So where does he like going? Does he like going into the gluteus maximus? I mean, I can't say that, but yeah, that's obviously a funny Roman name. If you were going to have a Roman name, that would be a funny one. Why is that concerning? What, the Egyptians? What? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you're being ironic or what's quite happening, Steve, but 5,000 years ago, how would they know the dimensions of the Earth? That's the concerning part. So 5,000 years ago, how would they know the dimensions of planet Earth? That's concerning. Oh, shopping. I thought you meant personal regions. I was reading far too much into that. Google Maps in the Egyptian time, they had maps in the Egyptian. They had old maps. They had old ancient Egyptian maps. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, this game is over. It has been, it's what can only be described as a fabulous 2-hour, 10-minute waffle. I thank you all for joining. I thank anyone who downloaded Match Bingo, and I look with disdain and contempt at any person who did not download Match Bingo and get your Match Bingo cards. There are many games coming up. There's a Latvia game. You can get bingo cards for many different games, and it will only cost you £2 per bingo card. And then they will communicate with Gio and Gonzo, and they'll say, oh, Gio and Gonzo, oh, it was so good. We had X number of people getting the app, downloading the cards. Trosh doesn't download apps because he is as old as the Egyptians. So get a web page. It might have a web page. Just look at Match Bingo. Match Bingo. I'm sure they have something or other. So anyway, thank you everyone. Have a really good weekend. Northie will be here, so come back on Monday. Maybe I will join him. Thanks again.